David is the Indiana State Director of the SBDC, and he has a couple words for us before we start our presentation. Welcome, David.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Thanks so much for being here, and take it away. We'll get out of your hair.
All right. Well, it's great to be here. Before I share slide deck, I just want to say congrats for making it through to Sunday evening for everyone. It's interesting. I do feel like now I have to make a couple introductory comments before I tell you about myself, what the state does for small business and the organization I lead. First off, pineapples do not belong on pizzas. I think I might have skewed it back to the no answer there on that one. So it's a battle every time we order pizza in my household because I have a wife who likes pineapple on her pizza. So the other thing that I'd say too is great for the Innovate Within connection. I'm actually getting ready to embark on a whirlwind virtual tour of the state as I judge every single regional pitch for Innovate Within. I believe there are 9 regions in all, and I am judging every single one for the next 2 weeks. So really excited to see the connection there, and obviously Innovate Within is a great program. So a little bit about myself before I turn on the slide deck. I'm the State Director for Small Business Development in the state of Indiana. And so I work at the Indiana Economic Development Corporation, oversee an organization that has offices across the state, including in Evansville. I'm based in Indianapolis, and we've got 70 team members across the state who are dedicated to helping entrepreneurs start new businesses and succeed with their existing businesses. So without any further ado, I'll go ahead and share a short slide deck I put together. So hopefully everybody can see that showing up on my end. So really, I want to talk a little bit, and when I was chatting with the organizers about what would be useful at the end of the startup weekend, and I've gone through a couple of these in person, and this is my first virtual startup weekend. We were talking about what would be useful for everyone to know. What kind of support and ecosystem is out there. And I know that that's been communicated with you probably quite a bit over the last weekend, but also just to share a little practical good news about small business in the state of startups in Indiana and where we've seen success and specifics around entrepreneurs who have launched over the last year, even in challenging times. And so I'll just, as we go, kind of just intersperse some stories about the small business owners we've helped, and hopefully that will serve as good motivation and encouragement so that you know everything that's out there to help support you. So Indiana is a great state to start a business. We're highly ranked in a number of different categories for entrepreneurship and startups and small business. But the third bullet point there is the one that I like to highlight to people because people often are very surprised by that metric. 99.4% of the businesses in Indiana are small businesses. So you think of all the businesses in the state, 99.4% are small. And it's over 512,000 small businesses in the state of Indiana. And a good number of those are sole proprietors, owner operators. And I think you have a presentation from Gutwein on some of the entity formation stuff that can cover the different business entity types. But it's a driver of economic development. It's a driver of wealth generation. It's a driver of the true foundations of many of our communities are small businesses. And certainly as we, look in areas like Evansville or Indianapolis or Fort Wayne and some of our population centers, small business is still important there as well. But perhaps even more important in the small communities across the state, like Jasper, Indiana, or Newburgh, or Madison, Indiana. So small businesses are the lifeblood of the state. They employ, over 1 million Hoosiers work for small businesses. They generate job creation, capital coming into the state, and growth in our communities. So what you're getting involved in is really the future of the state of Indiana. So we're glad to have you. couple other things just to talk about here. The state has a lot of support mechanisms for small business. I represent the Indiana Small Business Development Center as part of the Economic Development Corporation for the state. My colleague Eric Steele from Elevate Ventures is one of your judges. State support through Elevate Ventures is obviously very strong across a number of different initiatives, whether it be potential capital, entrepreneur development, some of their pitch competitions, SBIR, STTR matching. There's a lot of opportunities out there that the state helps facilitate through Elevate Ventures. There are venture capital tax credits for those who are starting businesses that will seek investor capital. The state helps incentivize those investors to make those investments in our startups here. We obviously do a lot of ecosystem building and industry-specific initiatives around manufacturing, 5G, the Indy Autonomous Challenge is this fall. If you haven't heard about that, I encourage you to Google it, Indy Autonomous Challenge. Here in Indianapolis, we're getting ready for the Indy 500 next month. This fall, we will be doing something similar. We'll be having driverless autonomous cars going around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway at 200 plus miles per hour, and really showcasing some of the tech and innovation going on here in Indiana. So we're really, really excited for that industry initiative this fall. Specific to the Indiana Small Business Development Center, there's a couple things that I want to highlight that you, as entrepreneurs, as those who have an idea, as those who are looking to start a business or who have already started a business, you have access to a suite of free resources across the state. Free consulting, one-on-one. We've got an office that does this based there in Evansville. And all of these different areas of assistance can be used by you, for you, at no cost. And I want to highlight a couple ways that the SBDC helps. So, for example, on the business planning side, you've probably heard a lot about what it takes to start a business. You're going to hear about entity formation. You are thinking that, okay, we've got an idea, we're working through that, you've pitched it. Maybe now it's time to get registered with the state, right? How do I go to MBiz to get my business registered with the state of Indiana? I need to identify capital. A good example of this, middle of last year. So right in the midst of the pandemic, our office up in South Bend, Indiana, helped start a solar roofing manufacturing company. And obviously they had some startup costs that they had gone through the business planning process and needed to access about $200,000 in startup capital. They worked with their SBDC up in South Bend. Were able to take advantage of some funds from the South Bend Revolving Loan Fund. And this particular business is a really interesting one because they're focused on helping or hiring their workers from those who are transitioning out of the prison system. So that's just one example of a company that has come in, used some of those business planning options and services that the SBDC offers. Another big one for startups is the market research. And I could probably talk. I think the last account I did, we had 16 different market research databases and tools that your local SBDC office can access. Anything from geospatial, demographic, psychographic data, spending, retail. We can get income information all the way to industry profiles, financial benchmarking. What's the standard startup cost or what's the standard cost of goods sold in a particular industry? How do I compare to peers? What are my competitors doing? Who are my competitors? These are all different reports that we can pull through the SBDC. So again, free resources being offered to entrepreneurs and startups because the state wants to incentivize and provide support for those who are engaging in startup activity, who are becoming the next successful small businesses and hopefully even large businesses across the state. Across the state of Indiana. One thing that I also want to highlight is this resiliency training or resiliency planning. So, one of the things that, having been involved in startup weekends previously, I can tell you that pandemic planning, if that's what we want to call it now, pandemic planning was not something that we often encountered. Certainly, depending on the small business, sometimes we're talking about cybersecurity planning, or we're talking about succession planning, or different parts about how a business operates. But I don't think many of us were doing pandemic planning. And so, I think moving forward, one of the long-term effects, as we think about people starting up businesses now, will be twofold. One, the ability to pivot quickly. So think about the restaurants and the retail. Think about those businesses who essentially their entire business model suddenly became not possible for a series of weeks, and in some areas of the country, months. And is your business? How would your business survive? What would your finances look like if there was a pandemic? If there was a lockdown? If there was a significant public health concerns? Those are things that I think anybody going into business now should definitely be thinking about. Right. I think that there are a lot of entrepreneurs out there who didn't, if you own a restaurant, I don't think you thought, what if 100% of our business was carry out only, right? Online delivery, that kind of stuff. And so I think that resiliency planning will be a key feature of startup planning moving forward. Another thing I wanted to highlight is the capital access side. We run a number of different programs through the SBDC that I think illustrate some of the services that we offer. We really are dedicated to trying to help startups and small businesses access capital. That may be investors, that may be groups like Elevate Ventures or angel networks. A lot of times it's debt. And, debt has pluses and minuses. One of the pluses is it's non-dilutive. One of the minuses is it can be quite stringent in terms of payback period, and obviously has precedence over other types of investment into your business. But whatever it is that your business is looking for, we serve as a conduit for helping connect people with banks or their local revolving loan funds or foundations. One particular story worth relaying, success story, would be local Evansville-based company, Heliponics, who has the GrowPod, essentially washing machine size, growing appliance for growing herbs and other green goods in your kitchen. We've worked with Heliponics for a couple years now, actually. Really, even initially when they were looking for business loan opportunities and took advantage of the Vectran Foundation down there in Evansville. We've continued to work with them through a number of technical assistance programs, and even helping export their product overseas and understand the different export compliance issues. So, that's an example of someone who came to the SBDC early on and has continued to reap the benefits of working with their Evansville office, while at the same time taking advantage of all of the other ecosystem building opportunities that the state provides through the IEDC, through Elevate Ventures, and really just an outstanding success story for knowing what the ecosystem is and then really going out and taking advantage of it. Another one that pops to mind, and I don't know if you've had the chance to talk about entrepreneurship through acquisition, but the local Evansville company, again, Tri-State Cylinder Head, we worked with a couple entrepreneurs a few years back that were looking to acquire a business. They were actually out of Indianapolis, and found the opportunity to purchase a business in Evansville, and have since, come in and acquired that business, found a way to significantly grow it. They've done a number of significant expansions and hiring opportunities in that business. So really, there are a lot of ways to get into entrepreneurship, and a lot of ways to get into owning and operating a small business. And so the SBDC stands, ready to help anybody across the state who's looking to start up a business and bring some of these resources to bear for you. as we look to continue helping start businesses across the state. And so we've done that for years. We will continue doing that. I ran some numbers earlier this year for our annual report. The Indiana SBDC has been around for about 35 years. Our best estimates are that we're talking 10,000 plus businesses have been started through the help of the Indiana SBDC. Last year, despite the pandemic, people saw opportunity, people acted, they went out, they started businesses, highly successful businesses. And they run the gambit, breweries, bakeries, cabinet maker, welding shop, medical device startup, machine shop in Evansville. The flavor of startup activity in the state of Indiana is extensive. It's diverse. It's women, it's minorities, it's rural, it's urban. And really the opportunities are out there for you. And so I would encourage you, run with your ideas, see what you have. Be willing to pivot. If there's one central lesson of 2020, it's got to be the ability to pivot, being adaptable to the environment. If you're like me, things were changing on an almost daily basis. Certainly from personal lives and professional lives, but policy and regulations and opportunities as state and local governments rolled out initiatives to help small businesses stay in business. And so the ability to be adaptable and to pivot your business and know what other avenues are out there for you, really, really, really important. And again, we've been doing this for a long time and we are here to help. I want to highlight just a couple more things. As I mentioned, we are a statewide organization. So whether you're located in Evansville in Southwest Indiana or somewhere else across the state, or you have people in your network who are located across the state, the Indiana SBDC covers all 92 counties in Indiana. And we have offices that are there to help startups, certainly, but also existing business owners. We're obviously talking a lot about startups this weekend, but one of the most significant things that we've been engaged in the last year is really helping existing businesses access federal resources such as PPP and economic injury disaster loans and shuttered venues and economic advances and restart grants. And so once you all become successful small business owners, the SBDC will continue to be there to help you access resources moving forward as you grow your small business and hire new workers and expand into new facilities. Really, the state is there to come alongside and to help you succeed. So I think the last thing that I got here is just a quick call out to say, we work with entrepreneurs every single day. With 70 people across the state, I think I ran the numbers once. We're talking to several hundred entrepreneurs every day, really. Across the state, you can connect with us on our website, isbdc.org, or our phone number there. It's really easy to get signed up as a client to the Indiana SBDC. Again, this is at no cost to you. This is the state's support for startups across the state. We've got a confidentiality agreement. Your idea, you're safe with us. You have a one-on-one meeting with an advisor. Most of the time these days, that's obviously in a video conferencing environment. And then it's completely driven by your needs. Request ongoing meetings and deliverables as needed. If that means you need a lot now and then not so much later, that's what we're here for. And so I would encourage you, as you are exploring your ideas, as you are continuing to work on your startups, don't forget that there's a big, wide ecosystem available to you, and we're certainly here to help you navigate that ecosystem. So I think that's about all I want to say for now, and I'm happy to take any questions if people have them, or if you want to chat. Really open to having a conversation here about how the state can best support your small business.
Thanks, David. That's fantastic to see the breadth of services and then the scope across the state. I mean, the representation, not just wherever people are going to be, but then with the services along the path of, am I just getting started? Am I wanting to grow? Do I need capital?
Yeah,
having that breadth of services. Okay.
Yeah, It goes, I mean, we talk to people. I mean, in a given day, you may talk to somebody who's got an idea all the way to somebody who's ready to exit, right? And they want to know how much their company is worth, and maybe they got an employee who wants to take it over. I
Right.
kind of mentioned it that, but entrepreneurship through acquisition, or through an employee taking over a business from a retiring business owner is a big opportunity over the next few years. Right now and over the next
Right.
few years, big opportunity.
Really happening with boomers wanting to retire, and they
Bingo.
this whole thing. What's their succession planning?
Yeah, bingo.
That's great to hear. Thanks so much for being here tonight and presenting and sharing your insights and all the resources. It sounds like from my perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to be here, and again, congratulations to everybody who went through the program. You're almost at the end, and I'm sure the judges will have a really, really, really tough decision on their hands. But this is the first step, and I would encourage everyone to keep at it. It may not be this idea, it may not be the next idea, but maybe it's the third or fourth or fifth idea that becomes quite a success. And so keep at it, and don't forget. The one thing I hate is when people don't know that the ecosystem exists. It's there to help them, and it is. So keep that in mind.
Thanks so much. Enjoy the rest of the evening and enjoy the pitch. I'm gonna send you back down, and we'll keep going.
Thank you.